Here we go.
Hi,
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear? Can you see me and everything?
Yes, I can see you fine. I can see you and hear you.
Cool.
Excellent. I see people are starting to join, which is great. Very good. Well, my name's Mara Golubiowski. I'm one of our assistant directors of admissions, and we're excited to have all of you join us this evening for our tour, Amber's tour of our Orthotics and Prosthetics lab. So she's going to take you around the lab and show you around. I wanted to just paste in the comment screen a little link to join our email blast list. So if you aren't receiving our emails, feel free to click on that form so that we can add you to our email blast list. So I will go ahead and hand it over to our Orthotics and Prosthetics student, Amber.
So I'm Amber. I'm obviously in the OMP program here at Salis. I'm from the Northeast Philadelphia area. I did my undergrad at East Stroudsburg University and have my bachelor's in exercise science, and now I'm here. So we'll just get started right with. So this is the room where you first walk in. This is our clinical advancement space. So basically we have all of our classes in here, and we can transform this entire room for patient models. And so these tables that you see in front of me, we can put like mats on there so that it's comfortable for our patient models. So we do tons of stuff in here. And then you kind of just walk out here. There's our other door. We have lockers for all of our students in our cohorts. And then when you come through our hallway, kind of stop and you're in our prosthetic lab space. So there's a lot going on right now. We have a bunch of different projects because we're in lower limb prosthetics right now, but each of us, at least in cohort 1, have our own like lab spaces and lab benches, and then once cohort 2 starts getting around in the lab, we'll be sharing with them as well. So one of my favorite things about being up here is the natural light, and if you look super close, don't know if you can see it from here, but you can see Center City from our lab, which is super cool. So this is we have our this is for like our Lazy Susan pulling station. So when we make different sockets, we put our molds in here and then use the ovens to heat up different plastics, and then we pull on here and these move around. Everything was custom designed by Dr. Duncan, who's our program director. So then when you continue walking through, we have a whole bunch of feet out and stuff like that for our prosthetics project. So the way this space is designed is that if you stand here, you can see into all 3 of our spaces. So all of our instructors can see everything that's going on at a time. And then we're going to go into the machine room first. So basically, turn a light on. So this is our machine room, and we have our Troutmans in here. So basically, once we have a socket or something that we need to smooth up, we can come in here and turn these on and get everything smoothed up for our patients or our patient models. So we have a bunch of them in here. So then when you come back out of our space and into here, we have our orthotics lab space, which is basically same as setup as the prosthetics lab, just separate. Here's some of our lower limb prosthetic projects that are happening right now, and setup is pretty much the same. And then when you come back out here, you hit the end of our hallway. We have a whole bunch of different materials and stuff that we use. Our lab manager Kevin's office, and that's pretty much all of our space. So
Thanks, Amber.
Of course.
That's great. So everyone who is joining, you can feel free to post any questions in the comment screen for Amber. Any particular questions you might have about being an orthotics and prosthetics student, about Salis and student life in general. I know Amber would be happy to answer any questions you might have. while we are waiting for questions, can you describe the difference between orthoses and prostheses,
Yeah.
just in case people aren't sure what those are?
So prostheses are if a person has limb loss, so then we basically would have an artificial limb for them, whether it be an arm or a leg. And then orthoses are just things to help the body, so like a knee brace or a back brace and things like that. So that's the difference between the two. And then I see a question in the bottom that says that you mentioned patient models. What does that mean? So patient models, so our lovely instructors have brought in some of their own patients or people that they've met in the community. So they come in and we do evaluations on them and make different devices for them. So although they don't go home with them, they offer their time to come in and help us learn so that we know what we're doing before we leave from school.
Good question. Yeah, keep the questions coming. I wanted to ask you, Amber, as we're waiting for more questions. I know I've asked you this before, but what made you choose the profession of orthotics and prosthetics? What led you to OMP?
So I have family friends that are in the field, and I kind of just did a shadow day when I was in high school, and I ended up loving it. So I kind of just ran with it and asked the right questions to try and get into OMP school.
Awesome. We have another question. Are students expected to have experience in fabrication when they start the program?
No, you are required to do some observation hours, but no prior experience is necessary or needed. Everything that you'll need to know or learn is taught by our instructors within the program.
And for shadowing hour requirements, I can let you know we require 40 hours of shadowing. We recommend to have fabrication experience. It's great, but it's not required, as Amber mentioned. And how did you go about getting shadowing, Amber? Did you say through a family friend that you started it?
Yeah, so I actually ended up, even though I did like just a quick shadow day my senior year of high school, I ended up going back to the same facility to do my undergrad internship. So it kind of just mixed as both my internship and my observation hours to get into school.
Awesome. I see. We have another question. What classes are the most beneficial to prepare for the program? Are there any classes that you took during undergrad that you feel like prepared you for the program?
Definitely all of your like science-based courses, so anatomy and physiology with labs, bio and chemistry, physics, psychology, and stuff like that. So those definitely helped prepare like all the prerequisite courses. Obviously on the website there are a ton of prerequisite courses that you need, so just make sure you're aware of those before applying.
Awesome. And we have another question. Do I need to have all of my observation hours and classes complete in order to apply? No. We like you to have the majority of prerequisite courses complete, but if you still have one or two that you still need to finish, that's okay. Same thing with observation hours. You would need to complete all prerequisite coursework and all shadowing hours prior to the start of our program, which is the end of August. But you can still apply without having all of your prerequisites completed or all of your shadowing hours completed. Good question. And for our admissions process, we operate on a rolling admissions basis. So we always recommend students to apply earlier rather than later on, just because more seats will be available earlier on in the cycle. We have students who are applying now for next fall, 2024, and we are beginning to interview students. So wanted to let you know about our process. The deadline to apply is by May 1st, but we wouldn't recommend waiting that long. Let's see. What other questions do I have for you, Amber? Can you talk about your independent study component? I know at Salus, students are able to select an independent study. You can select from health disparities and cultural humility, digital workspace, and leadership and management. Can you talk a little bit about the independent study that you chose?
Yeah, so I went with the cultural humility and health disparities route. And while independent study has kind of changed throughout this course, I originally started with trying to see like how big events happen in bigger cities and stuff like that. And then there's another question, what made you decide that this was the field for you? So I think it's the perfect mix of healthcare and patient care, as well as like getting to be hands-on with certain things. We do so many things that are in the lab and hands-on and lab like fabrication stuff. So it's definitely a good mix of using your hands, but patient care as well.
Awesome. And let's see. So, Salus's coursework, you have the beginning of your time is didactic coursework, so lecture courses. And then the second half of your time at Salus is doing your residency component. And there's 18 months of residency. So Amber is a second year student, so she'll be starting her residency in the springtime. Have you started thinking about where you'll be doing residency, or it's too early for that?
We already know where we're going since we do start in January. So I will be staying local for the first rotation. I'm between Philadelphia and King of Prussia in a hangar office. So we'll start with those rotations in January.
Awesome. And I know students tend to ask about, can you work alongside grad school? I know you are an ambassador. Can you speak a little bit about grad school and can you work alongside grad school? What is that whole balance like? Because I know it's rigorous coursework.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's dependent on the person and knowing yourself and your time management and your like how you work with school and like life balance. But there is opportunities at Salus to have work study. So you basically would just apply for work study. That's what I do. I work in admissions and I do tours for the program and just other university related things. But it's definitely my advice is always take your first semester to just school, and if you feel like you can handle work, then on top of that, but give yourself time to adjust to grad school, moving if you have to, and things like that.
Nice. And for those who are just joining, feel free to put questions in the chat screen. Let's see, what else? What other questions do I have for you, Amber? What is your favorite class this semester? Do you have a favorite?
This semester, I definitely think lower limb prosthetics has been a lot of fun. It's something that we'll see more like most frequently when we're in clinic and just in general. So I really have been enjoying that. We've had a lot of hands-on. We've had a few patient models already, and we have a bunch more set up for us as well. And then I see another question, does Salus provide housing? No, they do not. It's all like independent housing, but Salus does a housing webinar every so often, so that's also available on the website. So it's apartments that are around the area and different things you can do for that. So I'm gonna keep
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, we also have the My Salus portal. That's another resource to help students find housing and find a roommate as well. We also have a Facebook class group as well, so that's another resource to use. Yeah, good question. I have another question. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, Amber, maybe. If you were to describe Salus in one word, what word would it be? I know it's a hard question.
Okay, I'll give you like
Or 3 words.
Yeah, I'll give you 3 because I guess for Salus, my top 3 would be welcoming, healthcare, and like goal oriented or goal driven. I feel like everybody here has been, and it is like just a grad program. So we have everybody here on a graduate healthcare level, which is really awesome because everybody that you contact with wants to be in some sort of healthcare, same goals, aspirations, even if it's in different disciplines. So it's really awesome to be in a setting like that.
Those are good. Those are good words. Let's see. Feel free, those who are still joining, to add questions in the chat screen.
So here's a question for you,
did
Mark.
you spot one?
Side. Oh wait, we have another question. Does Salus provide you with a student mentor or someone that we can ask questions? So you don't get a mentor per se, but especially with the O&P program, we have ambassadors and different ASAs that are always willing to speak to prospective students. And within our student organization for O&P, we're doing mentors within the cohort. So that'll be something that starts up soon. But as long as you reach out to admissions, if you have questions, they'll connect you to a student or somebody who can answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, good question.
So I guess my question for you is, do you have any admissions tips for everybody that's watching? Anything that you would?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would definitely say apply early, because we're on the rolling admissions basis. If you are intrigued about orthotics and prosthetics, to take a closer look on our website. We have listed all of our required prerequisite courses. So take a look at those. You might have already completed a number of those. And for admissions tips, I would say definitely take advantage of shadowing. That will be a great opportunity to see if you enjoy the field of orthotics and prosthetics. You can read about it online, but I feel like until you set foot into a clinic or O&P space, you don't get a full understanding of the field. So shadowing is very important. What else? For your personal statement, so when you submit your application, you'll also submit a personal statement. And my recommendation is always to have another pair of eyes on that personal statement, just to proofread it, take a look for any kind of grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes, because that really takes away from an essay that you're reading. So I definitely recommend to do that using your writing center, anything like that. And also, after you apply, and if you're invited to interview, I always recommend just taking a look over your application before going in for that interview, because it's a good walk down memory lane. You can review your transcripts, go over maybe classes that you might have struggled in, classes that you did really well in case you're asked about them during an interview. You'll also take a look over your number of shadowing hours and the experiences that you've had. Sometimes all of those hours run together and you forget about some of the experiences that you had during shadowing. So definitely thinking about those different experiences. We also recommend just keeping a little journal or a notebook and jotting down some things that you learned during your shadowing. That's always a good idea to do. And when you ask for your letters of recommendation, to make sure to ask for them in advance, letting your professors or an orthotist prosthetist know that you're thinking of applying to grad school, and giving them a heads up, because you don't want to rush a professor or anyone to write that letter of recommendation for you. So those are my tips and tricks. So a question came in: is volunteer work considered in the application? And if so, what types of volunteering are good or applicable? So we always recommend including volunteer work in the application. We also recommend including any sort of extracurricular activities that you've done, leadership activities, because all of that helps make you unique while we're reviewing your application. Also, to include any kind of work experience that you've had during your undergrad as well. So any sort of volunteering is excellent. If you're able to volunteer in the field of orthotics and prosthetics, even better, you're getting more hands-on experience, but any sort of volunteering is a good thing, because you're helping people. Do you have any tips or words of wisdom, Amber, in thinking back to when you were applying? Anything that you words of wisdom looking back?
I definitely think just make sure that you're getting on your like prerequisites and make sure you have all the requirements before applying. And then if you do get the chance to just go in, like be yourself and try and be as calm as possible, even though it's definitely nerve-wracking. But be yourself, kind of just talk who you are and why you want to be here. And yeah, just make sure you have all your things. And like Mara said, apply early, get everything in because it is rolling and stuff is already happening for the upcoming year. So definitely get everything in.
Excellent. I guess another question I have, what is something that makes Salus's Orthotics and Prosthetics program unique or Salus unique? I know you mentioned already about that we have different healthcare professions at Salus and that it's all graduate level. So that's one thing that makes us unique. We have speech language pathology, occupational therapy, optometry, audiology, blindness and low vision, all sorts of programs.
So it would definitely be like my top, like what sets Sal's apart. But I think what makes our program unique is that we do have pediatric, like separated coursework. So we had a 5 week like course from short staff pediatric, like orthotic company, and we also our residencies, as I was talking about before, is integrated into our program. So what that means is we're still students when we go through our residency, so we don't graduate until after our residencies, whereas some other programs at other schools, they graduate first and then you have to go and find your residency on your own after you've graduated. So definitely think those are some things that are unique to our program here at Sal.
Awesome. And you need to complete your residency before you can sit for the certification exams.
Yeah, you need to be graduated and be completed with your residency.
Awesome. And let's see. Feel free, those that are still joining, to put questions in the screen for our student, our orthotics and prosthetics student, Amber. A question that we get often from prospective students is, do you get a chance to collaborate with students from other programs? Can you speak a little bit about that?
So actually your first semester as a first year student, you have a whole course like designated to interdisciplinary team, like bonding actions and stuff like that. So it's a whole course with all of the first years of, I think, all of our programs that we have at Salus. So you do a big project, a little case study for that. And we've done a few things with other programs. We did a little day with SLP and the PAs and kind of just went through different case studies with them and kind of talked about what we would do, what they would do. So there's definitely been a ton of opportunities to do things with people from other programs.
And also with ambassadors as well. As Amber mentioned, she's one of our ambassadors. And our ambassadors are from all of our different programs. So they get a chance to help with events like open houses, tours. So that's also another great way to engage with students from other programs too. Other clubs and organizations that we have too that come to mind are student council. That's a great way to interact with students from other programs as well. Let's see, I know it's almost 6:30, but let's see, any remaining questions? One question that I know we get pretty frequently is, do you have to buy your own equipment?
So no, everything that you need will be provided for you here. The only thing that I recommend having is either an iPad or a computer, just something for schoolwork, because we do use Blackboard a lot and for quizzes, tests, that. So that would be the only thing you should like have. There be one or other, doesn't really matter, to come to school with.
Awesome. I have a random question, a fun question. Do you have a favorite piece of equipment in the Orthotics and Prosthetics lab? And if so, which piece of equipment?
A favorite piece? I don't know what my favorite piece would be, but I think one of the most like things that we use often were the trotments, which we've seen in the machine room. They're definitely fun to use because you kind of like switch things out, and you can see how your like rough socket goes completely smooth, and how you did that from start to finish. So I definitely think that that's awesome. And then I see a question: why did I choose Salus? So I chose Salus because obviously, as we've mentioned before, it is all a graduate program, healthcare related. I'm also from this area, so it was close to home for me. So I didn't have to move or anything, so that was a plus. And also, just I felt extremely welcome when I came and visited the campus, and everybody's has been great. And I also like that this program was new, so it's been fun to be part of the first cohort in this program. And yeah, it's been so much fun being at Salus.
Oh, that's a great answer. I was going to mention to those who are joining and listening in, right now we are in our candidacy phase for accreditation. And we're going to be having a site visit sometime soon in the fall. And so our projected accreditation time is this fall, 2023. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. But everything is moving well, which is good. Everything is on track. Let's see. Do I have a last question or two? Um, hmm. Would you like to share with the audience what our mascot is,
So
Amber?
we have Sal. He's a salamander. The OMP, like in our space, he does have a prosthetic leg, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if we have Sal around here, hanging around, but he has his little prosthetic leg. He's great. We love him. I don't think we have. Oh, Sal. I found him. This Sal. This is what he
Oh,
looks like. So that's on. We always use Sal in all of our like different things for OMP.
that's a good picture of Sal. Thanks, thanks for sharing.
Has one up here.
All right, and let's see, I guess one final question or two. What is the Elkins Park area like? Can you explain? I know you said that Salus is close to home for you. Can you describe a little bit about our area of campus?
So we're kind of near a bigger area than just Elkin Parks. It's Jenkintown, like Abington, Willow Grove area, but we're about like from our window you can see Center City, so we're about like 20 minutes no traffic from the city, so you obviously have tons of options down there: food, museums, all of our Philly sports. As you know, love them. Eagles are undefeated and we're in playoff baseball, so that's exciting. So no, this area is really great. Lots to do, lots of different parks and hikes. There's something for everybody within 30 minutes of our campus.
Awesome. And I'm from not far away either, so I'm very, very partial for our area and campus area. I'm going to just put in our chat screen again our form. So if you're not receiving our emails, feel free to fill out this form so that you can receive our emails. And it looks like for some reason I'm not able to paste it. But if you scroll up to the top of the chat screen, you'll be able to see our little form link. Let me see if I can do it one more time. Maybe not. That's okay. If you scroll up to the top, you'll be able to see that listed. And if you have any questions, I'm just going to put our admissions email address on here so that if you have questions about admissions process, you can feel free to contact us. We're going to be having a virtual webinar coming up in this month of October, I believe, that will give some more information about our program and the application process. So if you are interested in learning more, feel free to tune in for that. You can email us at admissions@salus.edu, and we'll send you over that link to register for that virtual webinar. And I also wanted to make a quick plug for our virtual pre-application counseling appointments. They're a great way to have a one-on-one conversation with either myself or one of my colleagues to answer any questions that you might have prior to applying. Questions about letters of recommendation or shadowing, prerequisite questions, or questions about making your application more competitive. We're happy to answer those questions for you. So feel free, if you'd like to schedule that, email us at admissions@salus.edu, and we can send you over that link as well. But I wanted to thank everyone for joining this evening. I wanted to thank Amber for showing us around the Orthotics and Prosthetics Lab and answering our questions and everything. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, everyone have a great night. Bye.